If you want a sophisticated analysis, go to Andy McCarthy's new column on this very topic. McCarthy was the prosecutor in 1993 who convicted the terrorist who bombed the original World Trade Center bombing back in '93. He's had a 20-year experience looking at these things, does so as having been a professional Justice Department prosecutor. He thinks there's a lot here. He thinks that there are some very troubling things about how the executive branch under President Obama behaved, and he thinks it's absolutely worth digging out and understanding what went on. And he points out that it's very unlikely that the FBI happened to go in October to ask for a wiretap and got it from the FISA court with nobody in the Obama White House knowing they were doing it. I mean, to get a wiretap that included a presidential campaign in the last weeks of the campaign is a pretty extraordinary request. And that's McCarthy's point, that to think this happened to be done by some bureaucrats with no supervision, when you know, for example, that the Attorney General spent an hour in secret with Bill Clinton just before they dropped charges against his wife. And all this stuff smells to high heaven, despite the best efforts of the elite media to cover it up.
Well, I mean, what about that? You just heard Mark Levin's commentary on this. Mark Levin was on Fox and Friends going through points of evidence that showed that the Obama administration did, in fact, make two requests to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISA, and the first one was denied, but then the second one was accepted. It sure looks like maybe look, the White House, the Obama White House, rather, has put out this statement basically saying, trying to distance themselves from this entire story, that they did not order any of this surveillance. But we know that there were requests to put in a wiretap at Trump Tower.
Right. So when you look at it, and this is the point that Andy McCarthy makes this morning. You look at all this stuff, and you notice how carefully they worded. They didn't order it, okay? Did they know about it? Did they approve it? Did they allow the FBI to do it? And you have to ask yourself the question, what did they think? You know, remember, the only person who's ever been in the Trump official campaign who has ever been in any way involved about all this is Paul Manafort, and that was because of his Ukrainian ties, not Russia. And Paul had been gone for months, and Paul's a good guy. I'm not alleging anything with Paul, but he'd been gone for months. So what's their case? I mean, what the devil are they trying to do in this circumstance?
Right. Right. Well, we still don't know what exactly they're suggesting. I mean, in any event, I mean, people have meetings with ambassadors and senators all the time, well, but we still don't understand what they're trying to charge in terms of these Russian meetings. But look at what John Favreau, who was a speechwriter for President Obama, points out, and he basically says, I would be careful about reporting that Obama said there was no wiretapping. The statement that the Obama White House released was that neither he nor the White House actually ordered it. So we are parsing words a bit here, aren't we?
Well, we are, and it's very funny if you think about it, because you have this circumstance. You know, if the New York Times had any hope of ever being neutral, one of the things they could do is simply print all of the pictures of all the Democrats meeting with the Russian ambassador. Because you have this whole series of people who are shocked that Senator Sessions, as a senator, met with the Russian ambassador. And then you began to get, Nancy Pelosi was meeting with the Russian ambassador. Claire McCaskill, senator from Missouri, was meeting with the Russian ambassador.
Right. I
mean, all these things began to come out, and you begin to realize this is an absurdity.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we have to recognize, and I keep trying, frankly, to say this to the Trump team over and over again. They have a group of people who are their mortal enemies. The New York Times is one of them.
Right.
The Post is one of them. These folks are going to be against them every day. They're going to attack them every day. And they have to understand that they're living in a hostile environment.
Yeah, well, we're just trying to figure out if there was actually illegality done. I mean, Corey Lewandowski told Judge Janine last night that then Senator Jeff Sessions was also wiretapped, and they were bugging his conversations as well.
Well, let me just say,
real quick,
if they were actually wiretapping a United States senator, that is a very serious problem.
Yeah.
Whether it's legal or illegal, it is so dangerous to our freedoms, no matter who the senator is, that we'd have to understand it.
All right, we will leave it there. Great to see you, Newt. Thanks so much.